In this video, I'm going to demo the latest plugin from DiviPlugins.com called the Divi FilterGrid plugin. I already have a page set up in the Visual Builder. If I go to add a new module, I can select the Divi FilterGrid module, and by default I get a nice grid layout, filterable grid layout of all my blog posts. And we have the option to turn post elements on and off. And the thumbnail action, we can link it directly to the post, or we have a lightbox gallery pop-up option. If I choose lightbox gallery, click on an image, then it'll give me a slider gallery of all the images in the grid. And if there's a post element that's not available in our on-off switches, then we also have a show custom content option. And when you turn that option on, and we have a custom filter that you can add to your functions.php file, and you can show any content from the post that you want. Right now I'm just displaying static text, but you can display custom fields, advanced custom fields, tool set. You can display anything that's available in the post object. And then later in the video, I'll show you how you can rearrange the custom post, the custom content anywhere in this grid item. And the query options, we have a basic option. That's the default. It shows the blog post and all the categories. You can also decide which categories you want to display, and they'll automatically get added in the filter. We have a advanced option, and here you can select custom post types, post projects. If you have a event plugin, WooCommerce, easy digital downloads, testimonials, any plugin that creates a custom post type, or if you add them yourself, those will show up here. And then once you select your custom post type or multiple custom post types, then you can go through and select the categories that you want as well. And let's just go back to the basic query option for now. So we're back to our blog post, and we can decide how many we want to display by default, and a few other options: offset, the order, and then our filter, we can turn it on or off. And if we were using the advanced query option, we would also have the ability to decide which filters we wanted to display up here, so we could choose those manually. The basic query just autofills it based on your selection up here. And then we also have multiple pagination options. The default is an Ajax pagination that displays at the bottom. So if you have 12 posts displayed by default and you have a total of 24 posts, then you'll have 2 pages, and the second page will get loaded using Ajax. And we also have an Ajax load more button. So if you click on the load more button, it'll load the next 12 posts. And we have a load more scroll. So as you scroll down the page, it'll load more as you scroll down. And if we go to the design tab, we have our layout options. So the layout is the entire grid of items. So we can change that to list, and it'll add our image and overlay to the left with the post content on the right. We can do a full width, which just stacks the content. And then we also have a none, which will remove all of the CSS, and you can arrange the items however you like using your own CSS. And then select a skin. The layout controls the grid items. The skin controls each item in the grid, or in the layout. The default is the default skin. We can choose none, and again, you can use your own CSS to control the layout of the content within each grid item, and also your filters, so it'll give you full control of how you want everything to display. Go back to default, and then we also have midnight. This gives you a dark layout. And if we choose left vertical filters, This will just move the filters over to the left side instead of up across the top. And we have several other skins available and more on the way. The items width, this allows you to control how many columns. So let's go back to default skin. So the default is a 4-column grid, and we can easily add more columns or remove columns, and we can change this depending on device as well. Column gutter, this is a space between each column. Row gutter, this is the space between each row. And then the grid font size is the everything in the grid, the spacing between the columns and the rows, the font size, the spacing in between each element. This is all based on a 10 pixel font size. So we can move this down and it'll shrink everything, or we can move it up and it'll blow everything up. So this is just a nice convenient way to automatically adjust the size of everything all at once. And then because we're using CSS Grid, we can adjust our layout easily just using CSS. So by default we have our image and our overlay in the first row in the grid, and then each item or each element gets added to a new row automatically. But let's say we want to display our image below our title. So by default the image is shown in the first grid. Let's change it to, or the first row, let's change it to the second row. And if we go down to the overlay and change both of them to the second row, now the title bumps up to the first available row because our grid, our image and our overlay are now in the second row, and then the remaining items get bumped down. So our custom content, we could say, well, we want this to be in the first row. And now our custom content is added to the first row. We've set our image and our overlay to the second row, and the remaining items get automatically added to the remaining rows. Thank you for watching the video. I know it was kind of long, but again, this plugin is full of features and I didn't even hit all of them, so we'll do our best to get some tutorial videos out to show you how to use all of the features in the plugin and go into more depth on this CSS grid system that we've used to create this plugin with. Thanks again for watching.